Welcome back to Last Stop Recovery. I'm Chelsea. My clean date is February 13th, 2019.
And I'm Jay. My clean date is August 15th, 2017.
And you just celebrated a belly button
I
birthday.
did. I just turned 37.
Right.
What a big, huge deal that turned out to be. And then, I really want to thank everybody for everything. Because, we put out the podcast the day before. I think it was really good. I think everybody kind of really liked it.
Yeah. We've gotten a really good response so far.
Yeah. We did put out that last video, and it was kind of just like, we're gonna not have it edited. We're just kind of feeling it out. We have better recording stuff coming. We have lighting stuff coming, because we
don't know what we're doing yet.
We had no clue.
But it can only go up.
Right.
Here.
Yeah. This is all the way. We're gonna go just up and beyond. And I think we picked a topic that we're gonna kind of stick to today, because we kind of touched upon it last week, and I think we're gonna kind of discuss loneliness.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, especially in my active drinking days, loneliness was a big deal. I felt lonely a lot of the time, and I felt like I was alone, and I felt like I was the only one that was struggling with my issue. Because I saw all my friends, they were drinking the same way I was, and they weren't having the kind of issues that I was having. And then even after sobering up, I still felt lonely, and it's been a really hard thing to kind of to gauge and to kind of get through, and because I know, you and I, we met in recovery, but we didn't become friends right away.
Yeah.
We kind of really started in the past year or so, really started hanging out more and more, becoming better friends.
Made more of an effort
Yeah.
towards let's be friends outside of the
outside. But it's it took a long time to friend.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with the confidence thing. I know that even as a kid, I didn't have any confidence to go make new friends, because I automatically assumed that I didn't fit in with them, and I was always just a little bit different. So I had to create so many different masks depending on who I was around. And then when I got sober, being in active addiction is extremely isolating.
Yes.
It's even when you're with people, and it's people you choose to be around, you still feel completely alone.
Right.
But in recovery, especially early recovery, it felt even more isolating, because you have to change your playmates. There's that old saying. And so I didn't want to hit up my drinking friends.
Yes.
And I didn't have any good friends, and I had no confidence to make friends in the meeting either, because I was yeah, I'm just a mess. So do you want to hang out?
And it's not like it's their fault, or anybody's fault really, because even at work,
Yeah.
I know sometimes I'll watch these shows, and it's oh, I just have these shows show these people with these work friends and side friends, friends that they've known forever, and I've known people for a long time, but for whatever reason, it's a hard thing for me to just reach out. Even people that I've known, and people that I see on Facebook or whatever, and I see them going through something, or they're posting something on Facebook, it's I haven't talked to that person in a long time. Is it the right thing to reach out to them? Or I was let go from a job a few months ago, and it's inside I feel man, not a one of them has called me, but it's that's a two-way street. I haven't called them either.
I know, and I struggle with that, because I'm terrible about reaching out.
Yeah.
I am a very low maintenance friend. So if you don't hear from me, I'm probably fine.
Yeah.
But if you need me, call me.
Yeah.
The problem is, if I need you, I won't call you.
Yeah.
And I won't call anybody. And that's something even 5 years in that like our support system is huge. Like it shows the first video we put out. But like when I've had a problem, I've called probably 2 of those people ever in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'll just struggle through it by myself. And I think we're talking about it because that's something we know we need to work on because the support is there.
Right.
And when somebody comes to us for support, I'm always there.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing is like, I know that with this, what we're doing here, we're not going to get political or talk about anything that's going on in the world. But, and even if somebody's going to meetings or whatever, it's all about the recovery end of it. And really, honestly, if you're sharing in meetings or if I share a meeting, I really try to keep it to what's going on in my sobriety. But the thing about it is, there's a lot of life that happens in between that hour or so that you're in that meeting, and it's like that can really affect the sobriety angle. I mean, I know it does for me because I sometimes I just feel very alone whenever it comes to the world and the world being the world.
Well, and you can't escape like everything that's on your phone, like
right.
the news, social media, like the little alerts that pop up. And like on some days it's a lot easier to ignore all that, but like if you're having
and my brain is just so wired to
it wants that chaos.
yeah. Like I get so obsessed with something like, so I had gotten let go from my job, a couple months ago, and it's been a struggle. But like right away, it was like, I kind of called some of my support system, but it really sent me down into a deep, dark, why am I so inadequate that I cannot hang on to a job? It's been a struggle for my entire life, just hanging on to a job. But it's like some of the things that I did was like, I started playing games on my phone. Like I was just hooked into my phone. And it's this thing that I could be using to be calling friends or support around, my sobriety or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exactly what I should be doing in sobriety is picking up that phone instead of matching 4 pieces of candy together. It's like why in my brain do I just go, no, instead of calling somebody that I know could help or talk me through or sit down and have a coffee with or something, why do I go, no, I'm going to retreat inside my head and just play these little things on my phone?
And I think it's just, for me at least, I think I have way more time of isolating and dealing with my own problems.
Right.
And like the chaos of it.
Yeah.
Of like, I still have a really hard time breaking down that barrier to be like, I'm not okay. Like, even if it's just something little, like you didn't tell me about your job for a month.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I don't work there anymore. It's been a month. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
And then I pestered you about it. I'm like, talk about it. How do you feel? And you did the same thing I do. Like, it's fine. I'm fine.
It's totally cool. I'm all right.
I'm actually better for it. Like,
no,
and that's how much I know. Like, for you, it's so easy for you to say things, and I'm like, it's such bullshit.
Yeah. And I think that's where that loneliness comes in, and where like the other thing that we had talked about was using that humor to mask it. Because a lot of times I am just hurting so much that it's just like, I know what it's like to hurt this bad, but I don't want anybody to know that I'm hurting this bad.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's that devil kind of thing. Like, I know that somebody could probably pull me out of that comfort zone of being in that mess of being lonely and just scared, really, honestly, to just go, well, I'm going to be uncomfortable when this person's going, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we go over here, or how can I help? Why don't we talk? Like, that's the biggest one, is just talking to somebody. It took a month to tell you. It took a month to finally reach back out to my therapist and go, hey, I'm really struggling with this.
Hey, I might need help.
Yeah. And it's it has sucked. It was one of those things, and it was a hurt. It hurt. It was the first time in my life that I actually hurt over losing over losing a job, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, I never thought in my life that I would hurt over a job, because when I was drinking, I would get to this point where I felt like my job was starting to crumble, and instead of them firing me, I would just quit.
Yeah, tuck and run.
Yeah, like, you can't.
I'll break up with you
Yeah.
before you break up
You
with
can't
me.
fire me. I quit. You know? So it's like, throughout my life, I've just kind of had a job, quit a job, and then just because in my head I'm like, I'm screwing up, and I need to cut and run. You know.
Yeah.
So.
The cut and run thing is like that also carries over.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when things get a little too real, like
Yeah.
I still, in my mind, I've already run away. Like even if I'm physically still standing there,
Right.
I am 10 miles down the road.
Just see you later.
But there's like a saying that we say in the rooms, or one of our favorite people says it, that just because shit is warm and comfortable doesn't mean you should stay in it.
Yeah.
And I tend to sit in
Oh
my own
man,
shit
and it's just like, because I know
for an uncomfortable amount of time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like the ego thing for me, of like I just have such a hard time admitting like, hey, I'm having a hard time. And like the more time you get under your belt, because I never got good at saying like I'm not okay.
Right.
Now it feels worse for me to be 5+ years in and be like, yeah, I'm still not okay. Like I'm okay in general. My life isn't falling apart, but like I don't feel okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just sitting in it and like expecting it to just evaporate.
Yeah.
Like if I sit here long enough.
Well, and I don't know about you, but I put so much expectation on my sobriety. Like, I knew that as soon as I got a year under my belt,
Yeah.
that things were just going to go, oh, it's like, it makes sense now. But I felt like at a year of sobriety, I knew less than when I walked in the room.
I know. I thought, number one, we had the same thought. When I got sober, I was like, my problems will disappear.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem here. It's the only issue going on with
Drinking,
me
that's
is I
it.
drink too much. Besides that, I'm perfect.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
That did not happen.
No.
And as the years have gone by, I'm like still like learning about myself and
Yeah.
how many layers there are to me. Not only that, how complicated each layer
Yeah.
is, that I'm shocked people want to be my friend.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Or our spouses. Like,
Yeah.
I'm shocked you would want
Yeah.
to invest.
Like, and that's the whole thing too. Is like, I want to get close to people. I want to have, because they talk about intimate relationships,
Yeah.
and it's like, for one, I didn't even really know what intimate meant. I thought
Like healthy
yeah,
intimacy?
I thought like an intimate relationship was just somebody that you're about to have sex with, basically.
In the sheets.
Yeah, and it's like an intimate relationship can be a friend
Yeah.
that you talk to about really troubling things.
The
you know?
insides.
Yeah, I know, like, it's hard to watch daytime television, but they have intimate conversations with these people, or their co-hosts or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never understood that was a level of intimacy, and that was a level of intimacy that I never had. So I've never had that level of intimacy with a coworker. Like, I've never just I can't remember a coworker that I've ever gone over to like their house, or they've been like, hey, we're having a barbecue, come on over, and
Yeah.
and actually I take that back, I have, but a lot of times it's like, oh, what if I go and
But you didn't go. So you haven't invited, you
Yeah.
just didn't go.
So I didn't go, or maybe I did go, but it took a long time of knowing this person, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm never doing that again.
I'm going one time
Yeah.
and it will never occur again.
Yeah, invite me again, please, But it's like, but still, I have this thing where, like, when I am in those situations, it's like, why aren't these people inviting me? It's like,
Oh, yeah.
Well, because when you're invited, you do this awkward thing.
I want to be able to say no every time. Still invite me.
Yeah, no. What I'd really rather do is sit at home and watch TV or YouTube videos that I've seen 1,000 times and go, why is nobody inviting me out?
I just want to pout about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So it's been a struggle. It's been tough, but it's like it's one of those things that I've had to continue to work on.
Well, and just like saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Like that's one of our biggest things about like this podcast is like we're going to be talking about stuff because we know we need to grow
Exactly.
in our program.
Yeah.
And like it might be better than it's ever been before, but we got a long way.
Oh man. Yeah.
A long way to go.
Yeah, because I did get invited to people's houses, especially whenever I was drinking, but it was like I would not be invited because I most likely embarrass myself, and they're like, "Don't."
I got invited, but I would never go because it always came down to number one, I pregame way too hard.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, I'm going to go there and drink more, and then how the fuck am I going to get home?
Right.
And I always had the kids with me, and so I'd always end up canceling last minute.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that means like birthday parties for like my nieces and nephews. Like there's a lot of things. My parents' birthday, I'd like 5 minutes before I was supposed to be there, I'd be like, God, can't make it.
Oh, sorry. The flu,
Yeah, Bubba is coming down with something.
And it's really easy to blame
Kids.
my problem. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you had that just right in the bag. Like, what was I gonna do? Like, oh, you know.
The chicken is sick again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back when I was drinking, I didn't take care of anything. But it's like I still had excuses, like, oh, my mom's in town or something.
My car died.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They'd be like, wait, you're a mechanic.
Yeah. I was sick a lot.
I
very
was
sick.
actually, I was sick a lot.
Very sick.
Probably from the amount of poison I was drinking. I was
Exactly.
sick a lot, and I remedied it with more vodka.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I made sure my sickness wasn't going to go away anytime. But yeah, it's that loneliness that has been a big driver, and especially lately because there's still that I'm coming up on 7 years, and there's still that like why do I still get lonely sometimes? But I'm at a point now where it's like I can recognize it a little bit more. But I know whenever you came in the rooms, I was just coming back from like a horrible dry spell.
And I didn't even know that. Like you talked about it last week, and I was like,
Yeah.
I just thought you were super funny.
Oh man, no, but
And I was so happy you were there.
yeah, no,
You're like, it was a terrible time in my life, and
Yeah.
I was like, what? I liked it.
I had like gotten to a point where I was like, I don't even know why I'm going to these things anymore. I'm just gonna continue to be sober. But I was so angry about it, and like somebody would ask me like I was working at a dealership, and these guys would go and have lunch, and they'd go have beers at lunch, and they're like, why don't you come with us sometime? And I'm like, it's like fucking can't. It's like, yeah, like how dare you? But it's
I'm
like,
in timeout right now.
yeah. So finally, and like it's so funny because the way I remember it is, I remember just being at this point and feeling about the same way I felt whenever I first needed to get help. Anyway, to where I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I hadn't talked to my sponsor in months. I hadn't talked to anybody in any of the rooms in months. It was coming up on a year, and there's everything going on around that. It was like businesses were shutting down.
Yeah.
It was the only place you could go I could go was work home, and it was like I couldn't stop with coffee. I couldn't go somewhere if I wanted to. Like even if I wanted to step off and step into a bar, it was like they were closed. And it was like, which is probably a good thing, So it was a double-edged sword. Where it was like I was at that lonely place, and I was like, I had remembered a friend from the rooms had left me a voicemail. I called him back
From a year
from
ago.
a year ago, and it
That's
was
such
like,
a good friend. Only people in recovery you
Yeah.
can call a year later and be like, hi. Like they called yesterday.
And I remember him just like laughing at me, and I was like, are there is there anything open? Like, can I go to something? Can I just meet with you? And he was like, well, why don't you call your sponsor?
That would be too logical.
Yeah. And I mean, I went to a meeting first, but then I called my sponsor and I was like, are you still my sponsor? He's like,
excuse me.
yeah, you never fired me. I never fired you. So, there's a lot of love around me, but I still like, yeah, that shit looks pretty warm and inviting for whatever reason
I'm
sometimes.
gonna go sit in it for a while. Is it exfoliating?
Right. Yeah, like, oh man, it still
Are there health benefits?
yeah, it still has my prints from last time I was in it.
I have a safe seat in my shit. So.
You know what? I didn't even wash the shirt from last time. I'll just put it back on.
Yeah, you came into the rooms and like the meeting had just opened back up.
Right.
And like when the pandemic happened, I was a year and 1 month sober. And that's when I was going through all kinds of health stuff. So I was like, doctor's appointment, drop the kids off at school, doctor's appointment, meeting, pick the kids up, go home, eat, meeting. And like that was like my whole life. And then Zoom happened. And like I have ADHD real bad.
Right.
If a squirrel passes,
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to pay attention to. What's that squirrel's name? What color of brown was it?
What?
What's its favorite food?
Like
So like the bubbles of the people inside of their own homes was like, that's all I did. I didn't listen to like the people sharing or like the messages I should have been. I'd be like, look at that cat.
Yeah.
Look at that dog. That kid doesn't have a shirt on. Like, and I just.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
And you can't hear the laughing. That would get me because you say jokes on Zoom, and you can't hear anything.
Right. Yeah.
That's not good for my.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, whenever I'm joking, sometimes I have to use some hand gestures.
Well, and then I would like look at the little like the people and like see if they were laughing, and if they weren't, then I'd be like, I passed.
Right. Yeah. Like,
my time here is done. I'm just gonna go keep looking at your houses and your living rooms,
right.
your kitchens.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I couldn't get what I needed out of the Zoom, but I'm thankful that I did it. But I was getting to the point that it wasn't going to be enough.
Right.
And then, like a handful of people in the meeting posted somewhere, probably on Facebook, that they were going to meet in the park by Sonic and that pool.
Yeah.
And there's 4 of us that showed up, and I have never been so hot, like coming in, that like it seemed like I had not talked to a single person
like ever
for it was my first time.
Yeah.
So, and I just like needed it really bad, and then everyone commented about how lonely I seemed.
Yeah, and I like what you said last week, or like, the only meeting you're late to is your first one.
I said that in the share this weekend because I was late again.
And it really is, it's like, I remember walking into that to the first one, it was like, it looked like you were where you need to be. And it's like, how could I not see that? How could everybody that's in recovery see that I needed it?
Well, we see those like people come in now and they're just drained. Like their soul is just, it's not in their eyes anymore. But yeah, so Jersey John told me that 6 months in. The only meeting that you're late to is your first one. And I created a lifestyle out of that. Because I am late every single week. But I stay for the meeting after the meeting. Like, I'm usually the last one to leave.
Yeah. I think you and I talked after the meeting for like an hour.
Yeah. So typically my meeting is like 2 hours and I'm gone. And then if we go to breakfast or like, there's so many fun things about AA that like when you're first getting sober you don't think about.
Right.
Like I never have been like amped on going to breakfast with people.
Yeah.
But it's so fun spending like 3 hours on a Saturday with like meeting after the meeting, and then go eat. And I always get sad to like say goodbye, even though I'm going to see
See,
them in a week.
I know, like,
Just like, yeah, but it's like the endorphins like just build and build and build, and then I.
but that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Is like sometimes on the way to a meeting, I'm just like, do I really want to go?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Do I really want to be there? And it's like right as soon as about the midway point, you know, I'm invested. And if somebody goes, hey, let's go eat, I'm like, hell yeah.
I am
You know,
starving.
and what are you guys doing the rest of the day? I don't know, but please invite me.
Yeah, it takes me out of my shell because I don't know about you, but like, if the kids actually are sick and I can't go on the weekend,
Yeah.
or if I'm sick or we have like something and I miss a meeting, or especially if I miss 2 meetings, my disease inside of my head
Yeah.
will try to keep me from going
Oh yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, but I could go to the gym and lift and then go to the grocery store. I could get so much more done rather than continuing to work on
Yeah.
my
Well,
recovery.
that's like, you know, I think my mom has been telling me for years, you know, it's good to go to the gym and be on the treadmill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she's like, nothing is better for your mental health than going for a walk outside. And it's like a couple weeks ago, I was like, fine, I'm just gonna do it.
Fine, Mom.
When I finally was like, I can't look at this damn phone anymore. It
You
was
crushed all the candy.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want it. Anyway. Yeah. Because I was just going to say, I had heard this story about a guy's mom who got to like level 4,000. I guess that's where it ends. And she's like, messaged them and they were like, do something else later. But
Get
yeah.
a better hobby.
Anyway, yeah. So I've been going out for walks in the morning and it's like, you know, it is absolutely amazing how much going just around the block.
Yeah.
You know, I've extended it to like 2.5 miles lately.
Yeah, because you just clear your
Yeah.
head. It's like your time to be alone with yourself, which is such growth
Yeah.
when it really comes down to it. Because, like, it took a long time in sobriety for me to be alone with myself.
Oh yeah.
And, like, I still,
Yeah.
like, people say it all the time. I keep myself busy. I plan out almost every minute of the day. And, like, if I do have a spare 5 minutes, I have a list of
Yeah.
things I could be doing.
Yeah.
And then the gym, I have learned to turn it all off at the gym and then just focus on, like, why I'm there.
Yeah.
But this, like, us doing this, me actually hanging out with people on the weekends and not just going straight home to be a mom and a wife,
Right.
putting the extra effort in has been so much more, like, useful to me, and it recharges me in a way that I'm like, why didn't I do this
Right.
from the beginning?
And how crazy is it that like you and I say that is extra effort to go hang out with?
It's extra effort to hang out with people I love and have a good time with.
Like,
definitely.
You know, my sponsor always says that like I operate at such a low level of commitment. Like it's like I feel like I started like just I would go in and if I saw the dishes dirty, instead of my wife saying, "Hey, why don't you do the dishes?" I was just like, "I'm just gonna do them." And it's like, you know, that day that I did it, I was like, "How come nobody patted me on the back for that?"
Where's my gold medal?
Yeah, why not? And it's like, because that is the bare minimum, you know. It's
That's just being a responsible
just
adult.
doing it.
If there's dishes you ate off of, you need to clean them since you're home.
Because it's not like, well, that's her dish. I'm not cleaning that.
That fork she used, so I'm not washing
Yeah,
it.
she can wash it. Like, she has a job.
She is a busy woman.
She is a busy person.
I know. The funny story about our editing is Wendy, Jay's wife, and me watched the whole thing, and she had a spiral notebook of just pages of notes of like, we're gonna cut this, we're gonna cut this, and yeah, I chose your birthday barbecue to be like, hey, come
on,
come do the episode.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even use it, so we wasted like 2 hours of her time.
Oh my gosh.
But we want her to be a part of the process.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were both really excited about it.
Oh yeah. Like that's why I think that's why we're recording a little earlier is so that we can have some editing time.
So we can do it,
Yeah.
and not suck anybody else.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, that's the other thing is like, I know, like, in my head, I feel like if I'm asking somebody for help, and then in the middle of them helping me, I go, I'm wasting their time. Like,
Oh, I shut down so hard.
it's all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God.
Or if their
yeah.
eyes glaze over when
Yeah.
I'm talking about my problem, I'm like, this is a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
Like, I need to leave. Like,
So I end up putting myself in these positions where it's like I make myself lonely.
Yeah.
And it's like, like I could call their coworkers. I could let them know, like, hey man, I really enjoy working with you.
getting to know you.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Or I could call friends and family and let them know, like, hey, I'm here or whatever. Or I could call a friend or people from the meetings that I go to and let them know, hey, having a rough time, or I don't even think I need to.
Or
let them
just
know
say,
that.
like, how's it going?
Yeah.
I always make it so much bigger in my head
Man.
of just, like, if I think about somebody, like, I have a friend that, like, he has said it, that he's been doing it, that, like, if he thinks about somebody, he just calls them and sees how they're doing, and I'm like, that blows my mind.
That's incredible.
But, like, yeah, like, it seems like a very normal, logical adult thing to do. Like, hey, you were on my mind, I just want to know how you're doing. But do I do that? No.
Ooh, no.
Because then I'm like, what? I don't even know why. Like, I don't even have a reason. Because, like, people come to mind randomly
Oh, yeah.
all the time. And I'm like, wow, I haven't talked to them in, like, a little while.
Yeah.
I wonder how they are doing. And then I'll just sit there and be like, I hope they're doing good. I'll look on Facebook.
I hope they're all right. Yeah,
Because Facebook is just the...
Yeah, I have this group that when Wendy and I lived in Colorado.
Yeah.
And we still follow the group on Facebook, but it's like I haven't talked to any of them in years since we left. And it's like I think about it from time to time because they're great people.
Yeah.
And they're posting stuff on hey, we're doing this and we're going here, and like I used to go with them to have tacos or whatever.
Yo,
Because-
taco sounds so good.
Oh man, because like it was in Fort Collins, and I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Collins,
I have.
but yeah, that is like the coolest place to be. And when we lived there, I was so worried, like, oh man, is it going to be any fun because I'm not drinking anymore?
Yeah.
And it was way more fun than it ever was when I was drinking it. So, and not to say that I didn't have good times there whenever I was drinking, but it's like I was able to remember them.
Well, I think too, like one weird thing in recovery that I've noticed is like my addiction has gotten sneakier.
Yeah.
The like more time I get under my belt, and it hides in different corners than it used to. It's like I put a light in all the places I knew it was before, and now it's getting more creative.
Yeah.
And like, I love doing new things. Like pretty much in general, I'm just like a yes person. If you have an idea, can I have a babysitter?
Right.
Then like I'm like, yeah, let's go do it. But if I sit down and think about it too hard, I will come up with 50 reasons why I shouldn't,
Oh yeah.
or why it's like not going to be a good time. And it's almost like my addiction tries to get me not to do it, because it will continually try to isolate me and make me so uncomfortable
Right.
that at a certain point I'm going to say fuck it.
Yeah.
Of like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Because I think there's still that part of me that goes, the last person that I want to be alone with is me.
And yeah, so it's like, it's just like that seed inside of your
Yeah.
mind that never stops blooming.
which is like, I have no idea how these walks are becoming so great.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know if the sun just like,
everyone needs, I was going to say something and it's this now.
like, is it the sun?
There's a vitamin.
Yeah, oh yeah, is it the vitamin? Oh, it's scientifically proven.
There's science behind
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean it actually works. Yeah, there's
it. I like how you get any mom advice, like any child of any age. If your mom told you to do it, it's just like, oh, I hate our baby.
yeah, and it's like I just turned 37. I'm still
You're still a baby.
Nah, mom, you don't
You don't even know me.
You have no
You don't
clue.
understand my life.
Yeah. It's like all the advice that I've ever gotten.
It's
in
so
the room.
funny, like having like, Kai just turned 13.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, like, just Kai saying things that I said to my mom.
Mm.
And I'd love to be like, when I was 13, and I'm like, when I was 25.
Yeah.
Like, when I had 2 kids, I was still saying that.
Yeah.
So, it's wild.
Yeah.
Kai being 13 is wild, because she was 7 when I came in the rooms.
Oh, my God.
And, like, a lot of people that we go to meetings with, like, they still remember me, like, Bubba on my hip, and, like, dragging Kai to the back room and just bribing them to be quiet.
Please.
I will give you McDonald's. You can get whatever you want at McDonald's. Because that McDonald's was right around the corner. Yeah. And, like, that was twice a day for 9 months. I went to at least 2 meetings a day for almost my first year.
Yeah.
Because somebody told me that if you feel safe in a meeting, in general, like safe from your addiction, every time you want to use or drink, then you need to be in a meeting. And my response was, can I move in?
Yeah.
There's a room in the back, and I'll just get a bed.
Yeah.
Because I'm not safe with myself, back then, the moment I walked out the door. Like, all I would see in my head was, like, visually, like, the grocery store across the street had booze.
Right.
The bowling alley had booze. The bar in front of that had booze.
Yep.
The liquor store was right around the corner. There's 3 gas stations on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
A CVS, a Walgreens.
Yeah.
And so I would just, like, go through it in my mind.
Yeah.
And that was so hard the first few months to just get the kids in the car, go to McDonald's, and go home without stopping.
Right.
Because the kids were so used to the gas station trips. Because I went 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So they got candy. I mean, for a kid, that's kind of paradise, except having a drunk mom is not paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be 6 a.m. and I'd be like, do you want Starburst for breakfast?
Come on, sweetie. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's I know in the first year I went to a ton of meetings. And it's so funny because here we are sitting and talking about how, you know, how it gets tough now.
Probably because we go to 1 meeting a week.
Yeah. 1, 2, you
Yeah.
know. And it's like,
2's like pushing it.
man. So right about now is when I could probably go to more.
I know. I've said that. Now that my son's in therapy, I'm like, I could hit a noon meeting. Have I hit one?
No.
No.
Yeah. I like that new meeting. I know people there, and it's like,
yeah.
Why don't I go?
Yeah, it's like, I don't, and I think that's part of the addiction. Like,
right.
It's all, you're always going to see somebody in recovery that you know, typically, even if it's just one person.
Well, because I think that's the biggest thing about my addiction is it was never really the alcohol that was the big problem. That was just like a buffer.
Yeah.
But like the biggest part of my addiction was I was constantly ready to just be alone and separate myself from everybody, and it was like my addiction wanted to get me alone and kick my ass. Basically, is what it wanted.
Yeah,
to do.
my addiction wanted me alone until I died.
Yeah, it's just like
so. Like Sandra says all the time, there's a bitch inside of me that wants me dead.
Yeah.
And like that will never be untrue because even in sobriety, I have I'm still a chaos seeker. Yeah. I still want to feel really big things and then bitch about it when the high goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, because
you're not supposed to do that. Like, we've been warned. Like, you're not supposed to feel the high highs because then you're going to feel the low lows. Yeah. And I'm still want to touch the top. I just need...
Yeah, because I remember right before I got let go from my job, I was, I was sitting there talking with my sponsor, just, man, everything's so good. I can't believe how good they are. And it's like, in my mind, they were so good. And it was almost one of those things where I was just like, and my sponsor even was like, is it good, or are you telling yourself it's good? And it's like,
I don't want to hear that right now.
I was telling myself it was good, because I'm not a very strict person. So it's like I was working as a corrections officer, and it's like these people were expecting me to be strict with these people because it's like they are incarcerated. And it's like,
you work at a jail.
And I'm supposed to be. And I am just not that person, man.
It's deceiving though because like I think that there's that stigma of like you're a big guy,
yeah,
you're tall, and so they're like he's a hard ass.
yeah.
And you're just a little teddy
And
bear.
I am not a hard ass.
You're
Like,
a
at
very
all.
unstrict little teddy bear. I
Yeah.
could work there and thrive,
I think you'd be great. Yeah.
but I don't have the time. I got that job. I was so jealous of when
Oh
you
man.
got to work.
Yeah. And it was like, I think the biggest thing that I really liked about it was I was working with people.
Yeah.
And like, just like I was going to work and working with people. And it
Yeah.
was like, because for a long time I've been a mechanic. And that's just kind of a, you can
You're
be
lone
alone, you can stick headphones in, you don't really have to talk to people. You don't even have to like the people. I barely knew anybody that I worked with most of the time. And it's like, yeah, like I didn't have to, but when you're working with people trying to,
It's a team aspect.
yeah, it's a team thing. So gotta be in communication with other people. Gotta be talking. Gotta talk with the people that are incarcerated.
But it could be one of those things that, like, later down the road, I wanted to be a corrections officer there to bring meetings there
Yeah.
because they don't have any. So
Right.
it might be one of those things that since I got hired and couldn't take the job, and you got hired and then let go, maybe we have
Yeah.
our foot in that we could bring meetings
Maybe.
inside
Because-
because I just think it'd be
Yeah.
so useful.
People do that.
Yeah, the fact that we're not there behind the bars.
But then again, like you're saying that, and there's also bringing meetings to centers and all that stuff
Yeah.
now, and it's like we have the opportunity to do that now. A friend asked me to do that last week. I was like, oh no, I'm way too busy. I wasn't.
I was like, I know what you did last week.
Yeah.
Not one thing of it was busy.
I did this. It was really cool.
That was an hour of last week.
See, so yeah, I mean, it's just these things that I go through in my
We're
head.
going to discuss this opportunity after.
You know what? If one thing from doing this every week is going to do is
Tattle on
Yeah.
yourself.
it's going to tell on myself, and we're probably going to end up. Oh my God, we're going to end up.
I get in trouble at the meetings because I tattle on myself so much. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I got to put it out there because you don't want to know the things that I used to hide. So if I tattle on myself and it makes you uncomfortable, I'm tattling on me. I'm not tattling on you.
Oh yeah,
And so it's
Yeah.
just, I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable,
no.
but like I have to get it out
Well,
because
and like that's one of the biggest things that I like to bring up when I share in meetings is that I went through a dry spell, horrible dry spell at like 18-month mark up
Yeah.
to like a little after my 2 years because I was sure that everything was going to be okay by then. I knew it.
oh god, yeah,
And
when
it
you're like
wasn't.
yeah, a year and a half in,
Yeah.
you're like, why don't I feel like you don't want to say you don't feel better because
Yeah.
you do physically feel better indefinitely than when you were drinking like we were.
Right.
At the end, especially.
Because they're all everybody in there says, "Oh, don't quit until the miracle happens."
Oh god.
And oh my God,
The burning bush moment, like all the little sayings for the longest time, I'd be like, I had words inside
yeah,
of me. I wanted to say.
whatever.
So, and that was just because my connection with my higher power was, it was very confusing,
Very.
and I didn't know how to make it better because I didn't even know what it
Right.
was.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I supposed to rely on something that I don't know what it is? So, like,
It's
how,
not-
how do I
can't-
ask for help with
Yeah.
something that I don't even
Yeah.
understand? I've asked God for a lot of help, and like I could never see like He was helping me. Like people say that stupid saying that like He's probably helping you even if you don't see it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be like, the fuck He is.
Right.
I've looked around.
Yeah.
No help is being given.
Not here.
So
Not right now.
maybe He skipped my house. He skipped me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Santa did not come.
Not this year. No, it was like, and I had a really good sponsor
Yeah.
who took me through the steps. I had a really good sponsor in Colorado. That person was incredible because I told them, I was like, I don't know who God is. I just don't freaking know. And they were like, well, why don't you just be grateful for what you have? Because this person could see that I had a lot going on, and I was just like, it doesn't mean anything to me because I don't have this thing that I'm looking for, and I didn't even know what I was looking for, and it was, that's why like I heard somebody say like the best I've been able to do is practice a step a year, and it's like I think I'm right about there, so I'm right about to the point where I'm about to humbly ask for,
Damn,
for
I'm still.
right?
That's really bad news for me.
Oh man, because I just like slow. It's so slow in my head.
I just had okay, so I grew up Catholic, so I had a punishing God. The word God threw me off
Right.
because in my head it was a very punishing God, and there was no amount of confession that was going to solve my addictions. And like I've heard people come in the rooms and like they got sober through church programs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I just did my confession wrong.
Yeah.
Or I could have just told the truth to therapists or to, anyone,
Yeah.
really. But I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to tell the truth until I got in the rooms.
No, because like the truth is like, remember that movie Liar Liar?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the truth will set you free. It's like, no, the truth is a prison.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually,
So then I have to live in it.
yeah.
Like lies are amazing because it's like they can be anything you want.
Now they eat away at me, though.
Oh God, I can't lie.
Wait till you said that to both of us this weekend. You both are terrible liars.
Terrible liars.
I'm like, that's a good thing. That's a compliment now. Because before, you could assume I was lying, and sometimes I was telling the truth. But then, like, big things, I was lying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I
Pretty
used
much most things, I was
to
lying.
lie about everything, and the biggest person I used to lie to was me.
Yeah. This one right here.
So yeah, I mean, it was just like there was that isolation, there was that loneliness, and then I would just continue to lie, so it would isolate me even more.
I know.
So yeah, because like especially if it was over like at a friend's house or anything like that, like the friends that would still invite me around when I was still drinking, it was like I would make sure that if I ever did anything that was wrong or whatever at their house, horribly embarrassing, I would just lie to them. Like, no, that wasn't me. It's like it was.
I saw someone come in your house and do that, actually. They left.
Yeah.
But I saw
Up
it.
your security, bro.
Yeah. Check your ring cam.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's terrible. But yeah, I mean these horrible, horrible things that I was doing that I was just making myself okay with because I would lie. Like everybody's doing it, Like,
I know there's so many incidents. I'm like, everyone's doing it though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now in sobriety, I'm like, girl, no one.
Nobody.
No person was doing that.
No.
Like, at all.
Yeah.
But like, I did years of like, yeah, but I mean, people don't do it out in public like I did, but like, they're doing it.
Yeah.
I know they're doing it.
I somehow, some way caught a clip of this woman who was, she's like she was like a lawyer.
Yeah.
And they were doing this test for these new police officers. So she basically had to sit there and become double the legal limit. So, and she's like, she even said, she goes, she's like, I drink 2 drinks most of the time. And she's like,
volunteer? That's a job?
She volunteered to do it. And I'm like,
that's a crazy.
How insane is that?
I volunteer to get fucked up.
But
in front of cops.
She's like, for one, I've never been that drunk in my life, and I was like, I think that was daily, probably more, at least.
Yeah,
for me.
only double.
Yeah, only double legal limit.
That's
and so basically, she's doing this test for these new recruits so that they can kind of see, like, would you let this person get behind the wheel of the car? And she's like, yeah, 60% of the police officers that were involved said yes. But she's like, she's like cooking chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, which is like, yeah, whatever. But she's like, I have no idea how anybody can feel this way and want to get behind the wheel of a vehicle. And I'm sitting there going, I lied to myself every time, all the time.
Yeah.
And would be totally okay with that. And it's like, so that's, I think that's one of the other things, like coming into the room and finally getting help. It's like, how do I get over the fact that I lied to myself that much to be okay with these things that were obviously wrong? You know?
Yeah, and that's just the alcoholism.
Oh man.
And like when they say that's only a symptom
Right.
of your problems, that's the truth. Because then you start getting into your problems,
Yeah.
and a lot of those they've been with you for a long time.
Yeah.
And so like the amount of work, which I used to hate people saying like you never graduate from this program, probably because I wanted to get it done and over with.
So I never have to see you people again.
Never want to come back here
Telling
again.
me these nice, warm things.
Giving me hugs and compliments. I hate all of it.
We'll love you until you love yourself.
Oh God.
Ugh, barf.
I said that the other week.
Oh my God.
To a newcomer, and I walked out and I was like, I have become
Oh, here I am.
so full circle open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I felt like you really needed to hear it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and sometimes that's the cool thing in the meetings is like, sometimes those words that come out of my mouth, the message, it's not me. It comes through me,
Right.
but it's not me. You'll know when it's me. Because the other ones that I share.
Yeah. So I think that's the whole thing too, is like that, like I would hear that in the beginning, don't stop before the miracle happens.
Okay.
And it's like, it honestly has. It's slow because before I used to not be able to recognize that I was withdrawing. And
Yeah.
before I would just withdraw and then it would be like a year or so of pain and go, why have I done this? And
That's such a long time
Yeah.
to think about now. Like, not like a week or like
and
a
now
month,
yeah.
like 365 days later.
a whole cycle around the sun. That's what it took me to figure it out. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, now it's kind of like a couple days, and I go, this is,
I gotta,
I got to do something.
Yeah.
I'm in pain, and
it's
so,
that action
yeah.
behind it. It's like you have got to walk the walk, even more so than you talk the talk.
Yeah,
And just like call yourself. I tattle on myself all the time, but like I have to do that because it's more me saying it to me.
yeah,
Like if I throw this out in the air, it takes away its power.
Mm.
And that's what I need it to happen. I need it to
Yeah.
diffuse in power. You know what I mean?
I have to take the power away from that because honestly, yeah, that laying in that shit is so warm and inviting, but it's like,
We have a safe seat.
but man, it's so much more warm, and like that stepping into the sunlight of the
Yeah.
spirit stuff. Oh my God.
It even sounds a lot better than sitting in shit.
Stepping outside, going for a walk in the sun,
Yeah.
and it just like all of a sudden scrambles my brain and goes, "You're happier now." Like
You're doing better.
all of these things that my brain goes, "No, you don't want that. No,
We don't want you to be happy.
we don't want you to be happy."
Yeah.
Because
And I feel like that's our addiction, and that's the part that, like, when people say they're a recovered alcoholic in the meetings, it used to irritate me so bad because I'm like,
yeah,
I've recovered from if a problem happens, I don't go get a pint.
right,
And, like, if I'm having a horrible day and I, like, have no idea where to turn, I don't go use.
yeah,
But the insanity that lives inside of me is still very alive. So I've like learned in the last couple of years the difference between like some people it feels good for them to say that they recovered from
Mhm.
alcohol. And then for me I'm like I'm still recovering. I'm not recovering from alcohol, I'm recovering from insanity.
very much.
And like I don't know I feel like that's a lifelong process. And
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'll ever be sane, but I won't be doing the things I was doing. I won't be lying. I won't be hurtful to like everybody around me.
Yeah,
I'll be a useful piece of society rather than a problem
Right.
of society. Because yeah,
yeah,
but it's staying in the solution and not sitting in the problem.
Staying in.
We've been so much happier too since we started this.
I know.
That I'm like, why didn't we do it
I don't know.
a year ago?
But it's one of those things.
It's
really,
a timing thing, though.
It's really easy to talk about it too. You know.
I know.
Yeah. Because like I want to talk about I talk about so many things and I feel so bad because eventually I go, I'm not going to do that. You know.
We did do this though. It could have been the way that I said it. I was like, we're just gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just gonna do it.
We're just going to do it.
Because, yeah, a lot of people have talked. I made it sound so cocky last episode, so I was like, 3 people have asked me to be on their phone. And I wish we edited that out and multiple other things, because I sounded awful when I said that. But it's just no one had a plan when discussing it. And I think I needed to hear it enough for God to be like, just say yes. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because the logistics of it, I'm like, we still don't know what we're doing.
Right.
So, like, it's not like we were better prepared in this situation. It was just the right one to say yes to.
Right.
I feel like.
I think so, too. So
we're doing better.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go.
But I think it's been.
Yeah. I think that was really good.
I think it's been like 55 minutes.
Yeah, so I think we're going to try and get to where we can somehow, some way, put on the screen like our email address that we've set up for this thing.
Yeah.
And if anybody is having any issues with anything, we will make sure that you remain anonymous and
answer your question.
And we will discuss it, you know, because
yeah.
we don't have like a lineup of everything for what we're going to discuss.
We have no lineup.
We don't even make a script. This
is just us.
This is just us. Yeah.
So anything you guys like have questions about that you personally are going through that you don't really know like who to talk to about, we'll discuss it. We're pretty open books when it comes to like, honestly. You know, but we're not therapists. We're not licensed professionals. We're just 2 drunks in recovery.
Yeah. We're just a couple of people who...
We're ex-alkies.
Who have learned how to open our ears.
Take the cotton.
Take the cotton. What do they say?
Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Put it in your mouth. Yeah. Yeah. So we can listen. We can read. We're good at that. So yeah, just hit us up anytime.
Yeah. Any question. We won't say your name.
At all. But I mean, we are just going to we're going to continue doing this because it's good for us. And I feel like we've had a lot of support. I really feel like.
And we hope that, you know, it helps you guys at home. This is something that we feel like could have been useful to us when we started our journey. And then just the maintenance of recovery. Because recovery doesn't stop.
It's every day.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's every day. Every day.
So, yeah, hit us up on our socials. We will put them on the screen. Our plan is to release episodes every Sunday, and hopefully the quality and everything will just keep getting better.
It's just going to go up.
So, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.